Folks, hi. I would give a very short presentation on a preliminary assessment of the swim leg during Ironman Goa 70.3 on 20th October 2019. Around 15 minutes, and I'll be covering the topics as basic understanding, in which I'll try to explain what really affects, because most of you must not have been to sea earlier, and the meteorological data expected on the day. What will all this affect on the swim leg? So this is a strategy for you. The sources I have listed down here, and Mehul had asked me to make an assessment on this. Now, he belongs to the Kalam group in Mumbai. It's a wonderful group, and they never ask you anything. They are normally one who are organizing everything and very passionate about it. So if they ask you something, you have to do it immediately. Area of interest: this is the west coast of India. You see Mumbai in the north, and around 500 kilometers down you have Goa, where the event is going to be held. Now let us zoom it further. The circled area is a place where the event is going to be held. As you can see, it is on the mouth of Mandovi River, which is on the north, and in the south you have the Zuari River. Now this is the place where during flooding, that is, when the water rushes inside Mandovi River, there is a very strong current in this river, and specifically at the area where our event is going to be held. During ebb, when the water flows out of the Mandovi River, it has a very big effect at its mouth where the event is going to be held. The speed of water flowing can be up to 10 to 20 kilometers per hour. Luckily, at the time when the event is going to be held, the effects are not going to be that strong. Now this is the course which has been told to me how it will be. So as I can see, you'll be going out first into the sea, then you'll be going parallel to the beach, down south, then again turning in, and going north again and turning right towards the exit. Now this is a perfect picture which they have planned. I'm sure on the day the boys are going to be all over the place, unless until they have done 2-point mooring, which normally is not done. So you can expect the boys to be way off, and the course not exactly 1.8 kilometers or whatever it is supposed to be. Now here is a small thing which I'll like you to understand. Unlike in a swimming pool, when you head for the other end of the pool, you reach there, and that is not the case when you're dealing with currents in water. Now, what happens here is that if you're aiming for something, the current pushes you, and you really land up covering a lot more distance in order to get to the place where you want it. As you can see in this particular case, had I headed south, I would have covered less distance and gone to the place which I desired. So please understand very basics of relative velocity, and here the things are different. You have to take into account the current which is existing in your area to have an optimum length. You don't want to cover more than 1.8 kilometers, that is in your swim leg, because 1.8 itself is good enough. So in case you don't plan properly, you'll be going all over the place and covering much more than 1.8 kilometers. So please be careful about that. Cover some very basic meteorological data. You will have sunrise on 6:28 on that day. It's important because you don't want to get into the water before sunrise, and sunset is at 18:12. The high tide is in the morning at 2:57. Now we get all the data of tidal data of Marmugao, and Miramar is usually half an hour ahead of Marmugao. So I expect the high tide to be at 3:25 at our place, and low tide will be at 0855. So if the event starts at around 7 o'clock, so we can expect we'll be in the ebb period of the tide. The tide coefficient that day is 45. It's a very low value, which means that the difference between the high tide and low tide will be lower than on other occasions. So this is good for us. And the low tide itself is around 0.8 meters, which is quite low. So towards the last leg, the area I can expect that you might touch ground at some point of time. Now moving ahead, we'll again have the atmospheric pressure, which will be highest at around 8 o'clock. 1012, it will keep on decreasing later. Now this has an effect on humidity and the wind conditions, especially during your cycling leg. I'll not be going there. Someone can really plan that out. Now the wind direction will be coming from west. Wind is always from, and it will be very around 1 to 2 knots, which is very less, around 2 to 4 kilometers per hour. And humidity will be maximum at around 8 o'clock. Around 8, I expect it to be 80% and decreasing till 12 o'clock. Now the swell direction, I expect the swell direction from the south. Now depends on how the monsoon is receding. We can actually predict the swell only when we come to that point of time. The swell height will be around 0.5 meters. That is more inside the sea. So here I expect to be slightly less, 0.3 meters. Now, if you want to swim during a practice leg, please ensure that you swim around 7 to 7:30 the previous day, half an hour before, because only then will you be able to swim in the same condition as on the day of your event. So look at the high tide time and the low tide time and plan your practice swim exactly according to that. Now coming to the net effect of current which you will experience, there are 3 factors which go into it. One is the ocean current of Goa, which change from going towards north to going towards south, and mostly it is the currents are from north to south, and that's why you have all swimming competitions and people who attempt swimming from Bombay to Goa, coming from Mumbai to Goa. No one goes from Goa to Mumbai. And the major effect will be the tidal currents in the area, which have a very large effect. Believe me, they are quite large. And of course, the local contour, the local features and the contours in the area affect how the water will flow in your area of interest. Now, this is how the blue arrow indicates how the currents flow along the coast towards south. Presently the monsoon has been late, so there can be some changes. To draw an analogy, you can imagine a heavy vehicle moving through a crowded street. It does push people on the sides, so it's quite similar. It's a very bad analogy, but the water flowing, the whole mass of water flowing southward does have an effect on our area of interest. Presently the ocean currents will not have as much effect as a tidal current in the area of Myanmar. As you can see, the tidal current will be due to water flowing out of the Mandovi River, and if you combine it with the ocean current, you get a fair idea of how the currents are going to behave. But here at the mouth of the river, mostly will be affected by this water, this huge amount of water which is trying to get out of Mandovi River. Now as you can see, the net effect of a swim course is to the tidal current, but the effect will be most on the first wave, and this effect will gradually decrease till around 9 o'clock. So the first wave will experience the most effect of current, and in your earlier legs you will have a considerable effect of current on your swim. Now I have tried to superimpose the water flowing out, which is shown by red arrows, over the Ironman swim leg. As you can see, the water coming around will turn around in the bay, and it'll be stronger towards the center of the channel, and As you go on the sides towards the beach, the effect of current is slightly lower. Now here again I'm trying to emphasize how the current is likely to behave. The red arrow, as you can see, shows the pattern of current. Presently I have marked your swimming legs on as starting point as O, the first leg as OA, second leg as AB, third leg as BC, fourth leg as CD, and the last leg as DZ. Now again, coming to the strategy for swim, as you can see, the line in green shows your swim course. The yellow arrow shows you how much you should throw off to cover the minimum distance in the legs. For example, in the leg OA, the first leg, the current will be maximum. You will be really affected by it. So you have to give a very high throw off and aim for something quite right from the buoy, and not aim for the buoy. If you aim for the buoy, you will actually be traveling southwards and then you will be going up towards A. So it's a better idea to give a huge throw off, aim for something right of the buoy. Similarly, on the leg AB, the throw off I've indicated is slightly lesser, and similarly for BC, CD. Now individual legs I will cover in the next slide. Coming to the first leg, which is the leg OA. Now this is the leg in which you are going to have the maximum effect of current. Specifically if you are not a very fast swimmer. So you have to be really bold. I cannot overemphasize the amount of set off you should give to the right, to move in the right direction. This is somehow a crab move. It's called crabbing, in which you are looking in one direction, but actually the net result of your motion will be towards the buoy. Sighting will be difficult here because you will not have any landmark ahead of you. So try to look out for a ship which is anchored far and try to aim for it, which is on the right of the buoy. If you aim for it, you will end up reaching the buoy. The swell period in that area is around 16 seconds. So if your stroke rate is around 25, you will encounter mild swell every third stroke. In this leg, the bilateral swimming will very easily, and the sun will be behind you, so you don't have to bother much of getting sun in your eyes. Now coming to the first down leg, there will be slightly more effect of current which will help you in this leg, and you will move faster in this leg. Be slightly bold when you see the buoy. Sight an object to the left of the buoy on the Donapala hill. The swell encounter the same bilateral breathing. You will encounter a few misses, especially on the right side of breathing. You will miss one odd breath, so you have to cater for that. Sun will be on the left side of you, and sighting will be slightly difficult because the sun in your eyes, you might miss the object which you're aiming for. And since you have a land object ahead of you and quite close, around 2 to 3 kilometers, this leg is going to be easy, and plus you have the current actually assisting you in this leg. You have to continue straight and increase intensity towards go towards the selected object on the right of the buoy, on the left of the buoy, so that the net effect of your movement is towards the beach. The swell will be behind you, bilateral breathing will be easy, and the difficult leg is actually the next one. Now coming to the last leg, this is a very difficult leg for people who are slow swimmers, and because you'll be going against the current, you continue slightly left of the buoy and increase intensity. The earlier waves will face more problem, and swell will be coming from your left, sun is on the right, and as I said, the height of tide is only 0.8, and you will be coming towards the low tide. So depending on the course, you may even touch the ground. Now this particular area, Miramar Beach, has a lot of sandbanks which shift, so I believe that you can touch the ground in this leg if this leg is not very far from the beach. So look out for that, and you can use it. These are just preliminary assessment, as the wind and soil data can only be available a week before. I myself was struggling swimmer, and though I'm learning fast, the currents in this area are very familiar to me. Now, believe me, the amount of throw off, set off you have to give in order to grab to the buoy is really important, and you'll realize it when you do your practice swim. And it's a very good thing that Ironman 70.3 is coming to in Goa, in our country. Just my request to you will be during the event at any point of time, in whichever position you are. If you find someone in trouble, it becomes your prime duty to help him out, even if you have to leave the race. Most important thing in the event, in any sporting event, is to help anyone who's in distress. If you see someone is already available there, then of course. But if you see and you're the first one there, it's your duty to help him out. You may send me a message on the number given below in case you have any queries. Thank you.